The technology used and developed during the Civil War. Summary by Maxwell Wall. Telegraph. That's the telegraph right there. The telegraph was used by both the Confederate and Union during the Civil War. The Union used it first to communicate information to officers on the battlefield and reporting to Washington, D.C. The Union had the upper hand on communication, and this led to the Confederates using it. The telegraph used wire to send electric signals to other telegraph stations. This reduced the amount of time for communication. President Lincoln was a shrewd leader because of his frequent use of the telegraph. Samuel Morse code, designed the telegraph. This, to me, led to other forms of communication, like the telephone and even text messaging. This changed communication during war and led to Union advantages. Ironclad ships. You can see an image right here of two. Ironclad ships were first used during the Civil War. Wooden ships were used by the Navy for years and were the standard. In 1862, the USS Monitor was introduced by the Union. It was a different looking ship that had a low profile and two guns. The Monitor was a response to the Confederate CSS Virginia. The Virginia was a captured USS Merrimac and remodeled with armor. The Monitor and Virginia traded shots at each other for hours during a battle near Hampton Roads, Virginia. Neither ship was able to do much damage because the shots bounced off the armor. This battle was a draw, but the Union had an answer to the Confederates' remodeled ships. The USS Monitor was very effective and led to its own class of ships. Railroad. This is a train right here, and this is an image of a train with soldiers. And this is well, anyway, railroads existed before the Civil War started, but they were used frequently during the war. The North had the advantage due to the spread of industries. There were more miles of railroad in the North and more places to repair and create rails. There were roughly 30,000 miles of rail in the country during the war. About 70% of the rails were in the North, which was an advantage. Railroads were used to transport troops, guns, horses, and supplies to the army. In some cases, the Confederates had to attack trains headed to supply the Union. This was a way to get supplies they needed. The South did utilize the rails they had effectively. The South did continue attacking shipments, but the North soon added armor and men to protect supplies. The movement of troops was a great advantage of the North, and it was shown in getting thousands of men to Chattanooga in a week. Submarines, and you can see an image of one right here, and you can see kind of like planning in a house above, kind of house above it, and scenery. But anyway, maybe the best tech development of the Civil War was the submarine. Both the Union and Confederate navies worked on using submarines. The Confederate Navy was more focused on this because they wanted to remove Union blockades. Submarine development was dangerous. Several members of both navies died during development and early usage. The Hunley is the most famous sub used during the Civil War. Horace Hunley invented the sub for the Confederate Navy. The sub was designed for men to sit in it and attack ships. Using a stick to ram a bomb into it, the Hunley did sink 2 times. The second time, Horace Hunley died. The third attempt was successful. The crew sank a Union ship, but the Hunley never returned. The submarine was the greatest tech developed during the Civil War. Sources used for information and images. These are all the sources. Technology used and developed during the Civil War by Maxwell Wall.